We do have a breaking news story this hour. As we just mentioned about 5 minutes ago, a 21-year-old man has been jailed for life after being found guilty of sexually assaulting and murdering his 16-year-old sister. Connor Gibson was convicted of attacking Amber Gibson in Woodland in South Lanarkshire in November 2021. Our correspondent Matthew Thompson, who's across this story, joins me now. And Matthew, a depraved case. I mean, that word was used in court today.
It was, and in fact, the judge also used the word evil to describe Connor Gibson's crimes, for which, as you rightly say, he will now spend the rest of his life in prison, a minimum of 22 years before he will be considered, and the judge stressed, considered for release on parole. Now, the crime itself was, as you say, a depraved one. Connor Gibson walked his younger sister, 16-year-old Amber, to Parklands, where he proceeded to beat her, broke her nose, and then attempted to rape her before killing her by strangling her. He then proceeded to try and cover up his crimes. He lied repeatedly, in the words of the judge, before CCTV footage and indeed forensic evidence ultimately exposed his lies, and he was convicted after a 2-week trial in Glasgow. The judge, in sentencing him, told him that his sister Amber would have looked to you as her big brother for support. The last person she saw alive was you, her brother, strangling the life out of her, having beaten her and tried to rape her. What you did was truly evil. And as I say, he will spend 22 years as a minimum in prison for those crimes. He was impassive in the dock as his sentence was read out, but his foster parents were in court and they were very visibly emotional as it was read out. And what I thought was also interesting is, as well as this being a story of evil in the judge's words, it was also a story, as his lawyers tried to point out, of systematic abuse and failings. The two children grew up in an abusive household. There was physical abuse, there was sexual abuse as well, and what Connor Gibson's lawyers tried to tell the judge was that this had clearly contributed to his inability to form normal relationships and ultimately do the crimes that he was convicted of. Also, I have to mention, there was another man charged or convicted today as well of 9 years in prison, Stephen Corrigan, who was given 9 years for finding Amber's body and, instead of reporting it to the emergency services, proceeding to inappropriately sexually touch the body and then proceeded to hide it in the woodlands and effectively prevent the police for doing their job and investigating Connor Gibson for the crime of killing her for several days after her body went missing.